Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a Money Monday edition of Liquid Lunch. I'm Fernando Uribe, filling in for the great John Tobacco. And of course, thanks for checking us out here on Liquid Lunch. Don't forget to like Liquid Lunch on Facebook and, of course, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And joining me here is a guy who regularly contributes on this program, and he's a brilliant guy and certainly someone you definitely want to keep an eye on all the time. And that's Joe Pinion, very esteemed Republican strategist and a very devoted philanthropist. Joe, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Just hanging in here on a Monday. So just I hope you had a blessed Christmas, my friend.
Yeah, likewise with you, Joe. Joe, real quick for our audience that maybe isn't aware of what happened last week with Newsmax, but it seemed like you were in the middle of something, and certainly you keep making headlines and waves, man. What's going on?
No, I mean I think look, I don't know if John Tobacco was trending on trending on Twitter because people were both amused by the fact that we actually have people giving real news. And I think there was that. There was also the statement as it relates to the election and all this different stuff. And so I think at the end of the day, I mean, look, the election stuff's going to play itself out. We'll all figure out how it's going to work out. But I think for the average people, just trying to figure out exactly what happened, what's transpired, it can be a little bit, jarring at times to try to figure out all the legalese stuff happening behind the scenes.
Well, speaking of average people, Joe, certainly over the weekend, much discussion came about on social media as a result of the president signing the stimulus bill that was presented to him by Congress. I think we can probably agree on the fact that, again, these are numbers that are not helping the American people. $600 seems like a very bad number to go by. I know the president was hoping for a $2,000 stimulus check for Americans. But it's funny that, whether it's Republicans or Democrats in Congress, Joe, these are people that have not lost a paycheck in the last 9 months. Yep. And yet these are people influencing our lives, making decisions, and from what it looks like, very poor ones for the economic health of the country. Is that fair to say?
I mean, look, you've got, by all estimates, close to 40 million people facing eviction in some form, whether you're talking about mortgages being foreclosed on or these eviction moratoriums being lifted for people who are behind on rent. $600, I don't care where you live. If you live in New York, certainly not going to help you. And even if you live in some place that are more rural, the amount of debt that people have actually accumulated during this period of uncertainty where they've been forced to stay in their homes, where they've been forced to go home from works, where in some cases the businesses of their doors have literally been locked on them. So I just think at some point when you have these politicians who have never missed a paycheck, who have forgotten about the concerns and the financial burdens that the average American faces and the stress that has on the American family, I think at some point, if there's one thing that this incoming Republican class has, and one I think criteria that they should be focused on, it should be making sure that they remember who it is that sent them to DC, because it's very clear to me and a lot of people that the people who have been down there for decades no longer have a clue.
Joe, you're absolutely right. It's the career politicians that have been there from both parties, I would say, that have been tone deaf when it comes to the economic despair that, as you mentioned, 40 million Americans are facing. And one of the things about the economic despair, and I talked about it during my opening segment today, and it's something that I'm not trying to laugh at because it's not funny, but it sort of feeds the narrative of, as I've told a lot of my liberal, progressive, social justice, woke crowd on social media about the I told you so is, well, when Joe Biden was listening to all the progressives and all the woke crowd about, you need to cancel student debt via executive order, it seemed like Joe Biden was all eager to eliminate everything via executive order. He was going to cure this and fix that with executive order. And it seemed like, many on the left were pressuring him to cancel student debt up to $50,000. And Joe Biden said very clearly this weekend to Forbes and other news outlets, no, that's not going to happen with me. The number seems more realistic around 10,000, but it's a reminder of I told you so to many of my friends on the left who thought that this guy was going to come into office, which again is still up in the air. We're hoping for the best here and hoping to see what happens. But it just seems like, those on the left got duped once again.
I mean, it seems very clear that There's what Joe Biden says and there's what Joe Biden has done. We've got 40 years of empirical evidence showing us that those two things are rarely the same. And so I think ultimately this goes back to the left trying to pick winners and losers again, to the extent that we're going to spend more money that we don't have empowering people. What about the person who didn't go to college because they started a small business? What about the people who just couldn't afford to go to college because they had to take care of the financial burden of younger siblings or older parents or people who had abilities? The story that brings people through life, the decisions that people have to make, they're all different, they're all nuanced. And again, the left is basically trying to take their values and legislate from a values perspective, when again, the reality is you should have value for every single person, whether they've gone to college, whether they've not gone to college. And our job, our priority should be setting the conditions for people to be able to claim their own happiness.
Joe, honestly, it's very discouraging. And quite frankly, when we're seeing what's going on right now in Washington and the outright impact it's having on Americans, it's demoralizing for many. It's why so much of our country's mental health is in decline, in addition to our economy. Joe, before I let you go real quick here, because it's something that I have to endure a lot on social media, I'm sure you do too. I'm a conservative guy. I'm Hispanic. I grew up pretty conservative. There's some things I'm progressive on, but for the most part, I'm a guy on the right. But Hispanic, I get labeled an Uncle Tom, or oh my God, you're being just self-defeating by identifying with conservative principles and Republicans. I get it. The Republican Party's let me down a lot, but I'm still going to be a conservative because it's served me well. And I know its policies at work. Do you feel the same way? Do you feel that you're attacked as much also on social media? And how do you respond to that very quickly?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the hard truth is that when you come to this party orthodoxy, you've got the people on the left who will fight for anybody's right to be anyone, identify any way they want to, pronouns and all, except when it comes to their belief in conservative ideals. And so I think the reality is, I'm a conservative. The only place that conservatism can live is in the Republican Party right now. There's no room for conservatism on the left whatsoever. And I think to that point, the same way the Second Amendment is the keeper of my constitutional rights to bear arms, not the NRA. Conservatism is my North Star, and I'll continue to fight for it, because at the end of the day, politics is there to leverage power. You're not there to have fun. We're not in the feel good business. We're in the getting stuff done business to make sure that we can protect this republic that we all love.
Joe, very well said. Brother, stay healthy and stay prosperous in 2021. We appreciate your contributions here on Liquid Lunch, and we look forward to seeing you again right here on Biz TV, man. Be well.
Absolutely, my friend. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Folks, again, great guests here as always on Liquid Lunch. We'll be right back as we approach hour 2 here, folks, 1 p.m. Eastern time here. The clock is approaching. We still got another hour to go right here on Liquid Lunch on a Monday. I'm Fernando Uribe. We'll be right back right after this.